What's going on, Penn State fans? Welcome to the Penn State Rivals YouTube channel here on the Happy Valley Insider. And you just saw a class of Penn State players get drafted in the 2023 NFL Draft. So, of course, PFF says, guys, it's never too early. Let's drop our 2024 big board. And guess what? There are 3 Penn State players, not only in the first round, but in the top 20 for PFF's big board for 2024. So these are some 3 guys, and of course they can add some more as the season goes on. But right now, 3 guys for Penn State are looking to get drafted in the first round of next year's draft. You probably know who one of them is, and it's a guy that was probably going to be drafted in the top 5 picks. He might have been the best tackle in the draft if he came out this year, and it was a shock to a lot of people. Yes, he's super young, but it is the talented, and they don't have him as the number 1 tackle, by the way. Right now, they have Joe Alt from Notre Dame right above him, 2 spots at number 4, but number 6 comes in on their big board. Fashanu, that left tackle who dominated last season. He had a 71 overall grade in 2022. He played 8 games. Of course, he had a little injury at the end of the year. Seemed like he was going to go to the draft. A lot of people thought he was. And then, boom, big surprise. One of the top, like I said, if not the top tackle in the draft, decides to come back to Penn State for another year. Most notable thing is in 2 years, he has not given up a sack, only 1 hit and only 6 hurries. That's insane. Those are top 5 pick numbers there already. So I'm excited what he can do in 2023. He played every single snap at left tackle, 542, of course. And most notable, his age there, only 20 years old, 6'6", 321. He might have been the youngest player in the draft last year if you declared. Either him or Abanikanda out of Pitt, the running back. They're both in their 20s, like freshly 20, which is outstanding. So even next year when he comes out, he's going to be super young. That's intriguing to a lot of top teams. But number 6, Fashanu, and if you check the trends, a lot of people are drafting him to the Packers, the Bears, and of course my Washington Commanders, which I would absolutely love him to be a left tackle for us. So Fashanu has a lot to show this season, just building off of those first 2 seasons that he had. So far, just a limited sample, a little bit, but 2023 has a potential to lock in and solidify himself as a top 5 pick. I think, in my opinion, he's better than Joe Alt from Notre Dame, not being biased at all. But Fashanu, number 6 on their big board, not surprising to a lot of people. And you move down the list, you've got some Alabama players, some Ohio State players, but one of, once again, if not the best in his position coming up in the draft at 5'11", 188 pounds, that is Kalen King, the lockdown corner. And this might be a hot take, but in my opinion, he was the best corner on the team last year. I think he was even better than Joey Porter Jr. They're different in a lot of ways. In my opinion, Kalen King is a complete corner at the next level. Once again, this is no bias at all. The guy is a baller, and it showed. If you look at his PFF grade, 89 PFF grade last year in 2022. He's played a total of 25 games in the last 2 seasons. He has 3 interceptions in those 2 seasons, only given up 3 touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions last year alone. The guy's a lockdown corner. You've seen it many times, making crazy interceptions across the middle of the field. But in my opinion, I think Kalen King has the chance to be a top 10 pick. I think he is the best corner next year. There's a lot of big-time corners in the draft next year. He's only a sophomore. Like I said, another guy who's super young. He can get even better, just like Olu. There's still a next level to their game that's to where he could climb up. Right now, he's already really good on the draft boards, but you're talking number 13. He might be a top 10 pick. We saw Devin Witherspoon just go super early. Was it pick 6 to the Seahawks? So maybe he can go somewhere in that round. But in my opinion, Kalen King, one of the most impressive and complete corners last year. PFF had him graded high in every single category, whether it was man, zone, press, it didn't matter. Kalen King is that guy, and he showed it right there with an 89 grade for PFF. So another scroll down here a little bit of ways, and Chop Robinson comes in at 19. This one kind of surprised me, but not really, because Chop Robinson showed out last year. Really good at getting to the quarterback. Obviously a highly graded player. Next year has some really good pass rushers as well. You see Mason Smith just above him there, same edge rusher out of LSU. But Chop Robinson comes in at 19, so a top 20 player. 3 players, not only in the first round, but you're talking top 20 so far for Penn State. So our expectations high. People are saying they can make the playoffs. I think it's reasonable because they have this kind of talent. Not only Fashanu, Kalen King, Chop Robinson, and this is just for the draft next year. This is their big board for the 2024 draftable players. So they're not even looking at like a Nicholas Singleton or someone like that who can, be another top player in college football next year. But he had a 90.6 grade for PFF last year, did Chop Robinson. That is insane. 90.6. He had 5 sacks last year, 9 hits, 34 hurries, and 2 batted passes last year. Chop Robinson was dominant in a lot of games. 12 games last year, 455 defensive snaps. Lined up outside the tackle 442 times, majority of the time. I'm telling you guys, that pass rush with him, Danny Dennis Sutton, there's some big-time edge rushers on that line next year for Penn State, and I think Chop Robinson's leading the way. I love his game. He has a really good arsenal of, not only just power, but speed. He has some good spin moves, some chops. Probably where his name comes from. He has really good chops. He has some good some swims, some rips. He just has a really good arsenal of pass rushes. 6'3", 242 pounds. Another super young guy, sophomore season last year. I don't know if he redshirted with Maryland or not when he came over from Maryland. I have to look that up. But still, these are all 3 guys. There's people above them that are like seniors, there's a lot of talent in this draft coming up. I know it's super early, but you're talking about 3 Penn State players in the top 20 for PFF's big board. And there's some players down there as well. But in my opinion, when you look at the NFL draft next season, I think these are the 3 guys, to no surprise to any of us, can be taken in the first round. There's some other guys that can kind of slide up in there. But I think when you look at some of these younger, high upside players with a ton of talent who showed out last year, it could have easily been top draft picks as well. I think Kalen King, even in a super deep corner draft class this past season, I think he could have been another guy who was taken in the first round already last season if he was draftable. People say that with Olu, but I think Kalen King is a guy that could have been mentioned as well. Edge class is kind of hit or miss last year, so I think Chop Robinson could have been a guy that was included in that class if he was draftable last year. But guys, three picks in the top 20. And you see why Penn State's recruiting really well. Just killing it on the recruiting trail right now. So subscribe to the channel and you'll get all your information for not only recruits, but transfer portal for football, basketball, and so on. I'm Josh Taylor here with Penn State Rivals. Season's looking good for Penn State next year, especially when you have 3 guys in the top 20 possible first-round picks for PFF. The expectations are high, but I have a feeling they'll be met next season for Penn State. Appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all next time.